live. I just want to make something clear. Geo Farnsworth says that he lives in my head for free. And there's nothing free about it. He and Daniel Dowd came into town and bragged about murdering my friend. There's been nothing free about it for me at all. It came with great personal cost. Are they in my mind? Yeah, they're most definitely in my mind. They murdered my friend and bragged about it. And what kind of friend would I be if I didn't actually try to make that right? And so they can say whatever they want to say. As far as I know, things are just coming, they're becoming very interesting. This whole Russian, Putin, and Donald Trump summit thing in Alaska, it had nothing to do with Ukraine. I bet Putin put his foot down and told Trump that he needed to get this Jeffrey Epstein narrative under control, or else Putin is going to get involved. Because the same thing that connects Trump to Jeffrey Epstein is the same thing that connects Putin to Jeffrey Epstein. Both Trump and Putin had those teen pageants going on, which is where they were use all the shit that they were using for the child trafficking. And if it comes out, I bet Vladimir Putin, who I'm sure is very focused on his legacy right now, just doesn't want to go through the same shit that Donald Trump is going through. Because now the whole world looks at Trump as a pedophile. He's all involved with this Jeffrey Epstein stuff. He's hiding the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. His whole administration is hiding the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. He can say whatever he wants. But and not that it makes any difference. I was just this morning I woke up and was watching Farron Balanced. I know that's not his real name, but he goes by that's one of his accounts on YouTube. And he said that 1,000 Republicans were surveyed. He was talking about this new survey, and 49% of Republicans surveyed said it doesn't make any difference if they connect Donald Trump to child trafficking and all of that shit. Doesn't make any difference, which Fair and Balanced was very disheartened. I'm not surprised because it was never about the kids. It was never about the kids. The whole thing that they were going with Epstein is that they're all gung ho when it's Hillary Clinton and all the Democrats, but they can't let it be any Republicans. And that's who basically they were. Democrats don't generally hang with Republicans. And all of this stuff that Epstein was doing, now Democrats were involved. Obviously, Bill Clinton was involved. And at the, I don't know, wasn't it that time that Donald Trump said he was a Democrat? But the Republicans are, they have as many secrets on the Republicans as they do the Democrats. It doesn't make any difference. And all this pedophilia shit is getting ready to come out. And I bet Vladimir Putin is beside himself. Because right now in his country, the last thing he fucking needs right now is to be associated with being a fucking pedophile. That's what this whole summit was about. You don't have to fucking be a remote viewer to go figure that one out, you know? And they're going to end up finding out that Elon Musk is Vladimir Putin's butt boy. And so it's just all of this shit is going to start coming out. That's the whole thing is that it's all going to start coming out. And Vladimir Putin doesn't want it coming out. They can't fight what's here because heaven has already won. They're, this is all over with. And Geo can say whatever the fuck he wants, but yeah, I'm very focused on him and Daniel Dowd. Never said you fucking emailed me, dude, but the fact that you actually connected yourself with that group of emails from those crazy people makes me wonder if you're involved with that group of emails. Obviously, you are because you were fighting for it. I'll post all of that stuff when I get done with this live. I'll put it on my blog, and then everything I'm talking about, I just put on my blog. So if you watch this right away and you go to my blog, you might want to check it later on because I'm always adding shit. You know, I'm always adding stuff just to show what I'm talking about. But as far as the directed energy weapons, that person that you're talking about is crazy. And that group of emails, especially the stuff that I've shown just recently from that group of emails, those people seem psychotic. I don't understand what half of it means. It's not addressed to me. They're not talking to me. They're talking about all of this stuff. Why the fuck am I included in those weird ass emails? But the fact that Geo, you would fight that. And the other thing that I want to say is interesting how you've changed your name now and you no longer have clown associated with your name because you've been clown something or other, clown sex sucks, clown Wolflin, or whatever the fuck it is. You always have. And then the thing about it is that the thing about with that whole, sorry, someone just, I didn't murder my sister Cindy. I should have taken a screenshot of it, but I just got rid of it because I just don't care. The thing about it, this child trafficking shit is getting ready to come out. And as far as everything that goes on, you bragged about murdering my friend. You don't live in my mind for free. Not that I don't have you in mind. You and Daniel Dowd. Don't even get that. But it hasn't been for free. It was a great personal cost. And all of this shit, all of this child trafficking bullshit, when it comes down to it, it goes right back to where I was when I was a kid and the definition of faith. Be sure of what you hope for and certain of what you do not see. What have I always hoped for? I wanted these fucking child killers dealt with. And all those who defended and protected the child killers. And all of those who would defend and protect those who would defend and protect child killers. And so on and so forth. That's what I've always wanted. I wanted not only the child killers, but everyone who actually looked away and helped it be facilitated. That's what it started with when I was a kid. That's what I wanted, was it for all of them to be claimed and to pay for the shit that they did. That's what I wanted. And certain of what I do not see, I'm certain that that's happening now. And as far as Putin and Trump goes, this is what I see. This is what I see. My teeth are just stained, dumbass. You know? I can't do anything about my teeth or the overbite. Nothing I can do. However, when it comes down to Trump and Putin, this is what I see. The dark has had a hold of them for a long time. Putin lives in a world where he is so afraid that when he meets with people, he sits at a table and the table is 20 feet long because he's afraid of what people will do to him. When the dude shows up from Russia, the ambassador for Russia, and has that thing that basically was a USSR. It's now what they call it, but it was an old USSR thing. I believe that really, when it comes down to it, it was all KGB, because what goes with the USSR was the KGB. I'm sure they still have it. It's just called something else now, just like what we have. And so Vladimir Putin is like this scared dude that is hanging on to power who doesn't feel good, you know? And so, but now, then you have Trump. And Trump is the funniest because he's always wanted to be considered a ladies' man and grab women by their pussies and nobody could care. You know, they'll just accept it, blah, 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 blah. It's just God's gift to women. And now, at his age, he is rotting from the inside out. And not only is he not a ladies' man, but the stench is horrifying to people. They talk about how bad he smells all the time, and he's old. That it kind of goes with age, you know? And so at the end of his life, he's the leader of the free world, and still he is shunned, you know? Shunned. And so it's just interesting how it works. The dark brings to you what you are afraid of the most. You know, it does bring you what you are afraid of the most. And so, anyway, that's all I have to say. Is that the shit that I deal with Geo and Daniel Dowd, yes, they are in my head. For sure, they are in my head. Excuse me. They murdered my friend and bragged about it and danced around. And do I want justice? Yeah, I do. I think that when it comes down to it, oh, guys, get off my hat. I never wear this hat. And that's the focus on what they have. This child trafficking bullshit needs to be exposed. It needs to come out. It needs to come out. This child trafficking bullshit needs to come out. And it's getting ready to come out. Oh, fuck. How's that? It's not like I need a hat. Since it's such a fucking distraction. But it's weird how it works. Now it'll be my hair. You know? It's my hat, my hair, and none of it has anything to do with the fact that this is all about child trafficking. And it doesn't make any difference who is fucking doing it. Child trafficking and pedophilia is bad. It is. You know? And so, and they can argue all they want. Do I have Geo and Daniel Dowd in mind? Yes, I do. And the reason why is because they murdered my friend. And my friend, you know, I'm not shaving my head. It, again, the focus is on my hair, and it should be on this child trafficking. Because Daniel Dowd and Geo Farnsworth are involved. It is interesting that Geo is not calling himself clown now. But that is because that is after I pointed out the fact that I think that the whole clown fascination that he has is a weird connection to John Wayne Gacy. And that's the reason why he's so weirdly homophobic. Because he does all of this bizarre stuff, says all of this bizarre homophobic stuff to me. But now the thing is that now he's not calling himself clown. So he didn't like the fact that I actually pointed out that it was involved with John Wayne Gacy. And if I was a profiler, I would find that interesting. And what I also find interesting, and I will put the link to that in the description, there are 50 children missing in, hold on, Virginia. You know, there is 50 kids missing in Virginia. It's the same shit that was going on with Ohio and 1,000 kids there that just kind of disappeared and they were all in one area. These kids are all in one area. There's 50 kids missing, you know? And we have people who are involved in office who are involved with fucking human and child trafficking that have been involved with it. And now we have motherfuckers with fucking masks who no one knows who they are, just abducting fucking people off the goddamn streets. What could possibly go wrong with that? What could possibly go wrong? It is a lot of children. And they got, when I put the link to the video that I watched, all of that, those statistics are coming from missing and exploited children. So I would assume that missing and exploited children will be the next thing they fucking target and want to shut down. You know? Owen wasn't in Confessions of an Antichrist. He was my sister's boyfriend for 20 years. You know? Not everything went in there. They want to negate the whole situation with Owen. Owen was involved with my sister for 20 fucking years. 20 years. He was basically my brother-in-law. After Barry, it was Owen, and Owen was 20 something years. And so that was, you know, he dated my sister. They worked together. Everyone knew him. My friend, Owen, is the one who helped me get through my divorce. And it makes no fucking difference. These motherfuckers showed up and bragged. She did break up with Owen just in the last year and a half, 2 years. Doesn't negate the 20 years before that. You know, doesn't negate all the time before that. This is all Geo. It's all in here actually talking about this shit. It's all Geo. And again, I would have never considered the fact that Daniel Dowd and Geo Farnsworth had anything to do with Owen's death, but they bragged about it. They made posts on fucking YouTube. Daniel Dowd posted live videos of Harlan at the time while they were going on. My sister had to have been involved because she knew that Daniel Dowd was down in Joplin, Missouri, you know? And they don't want anyone to know. They don't want anyone to investigate. But I have a feeling that there is more going on than, you know, there's more going on to this whole situation. They're fighting way too hard. There's change what fucking location? Owen lives in Omaha. I grew up in Omaha, lived in Omaha. Then for 10 years, I lived in Council Bluffs. I live in fucking Harlan, which is only 40 minutes from Omaha. You should not have murdered my friend and then bragged about it, dumbass. You just shouldn't have done it. You just shouldn't have done it. It was stupid. You wanted fucking credit for it. I'm simply giving you fucking credit for it. That's how it's working. And you can act all indignant like you are a fucking investigator and know what you're doing and shit like that. But the fact is, you actually bragged about murdering my friend. And now you're bitching because I won't shut up about it and I'm making an issue about it. Owen was my friend. Whether or not you want to accept that, whether or not anything, who gives a fuck? It doesn't change the facts of the matter whatsoever. You're not in my head for free. You murdered my friend. Having you come into my life has been incredibly costly. There's no lies. And dude, the stupid thing about it is that you come in here anonymously with anonymous counts, with anonymous pictures and want to be taken seriously. Like, oh, but you come under, you have so many accounts and so much shit goes on. And yet you want people to actually be here. Oh, God. I block you, Geo, for the simple fucking fact that this is what ends up happening. This is what you do. This is what you do. And I would be willing to bet now that if they run that Shadow Dragon program on all those emails that I'm getting from all those weird people, they'll associate back to you and Daniel Dowd. I bet. That's the problem. And Sherilyn is going to just go right back to you. That's how it's going to work. Because Sherilyn was just, dude, when it comes down to it, you bragged about fucking murdering my friend. You bragged about it. You bragged about it. People do care about Sherilyn because it's going to be connected to your little group. That's how it'll work. Sherilyn is part of your little group. Just like Glenna was part of your little group. That's how it's going to work. People are looking into it and investigating them. I am saying that you, Geo Farnsworth, and Daniel Dowd bragged to me about murdering Owen. That's what I'm saying. You bragged to me about murdering Owen. Owen didn't have an autopsy. The Omaha police took care of him. But none of that goes. What I personally think, dude, is that when his girlfriend went with her mother and that dude on that date, you guys came in and pumped him full of insulin. That's what I think. That's how I figure it happened. But I would have never fucking even thought about it or even known about anything had you not fucking bragged about it. Sent me all those fucking live videos of Harlan. Daniel Dowd did his Pootie Twang. And you basically posted something on YouTube that showed that you were in Harlan. I accuse you, Geo. You and Daniel Dowd. That's who I'm accusing. The two people who actually bragged about murdering Owen. That's what I'm doing. Sarah doesn't even know how he died. He didn't have any autopsy and he got cremated immediately. So when it comes down to it, go fuck yourself, Geo. You bragged about murdering my friend and now you're going to bitch about it. You'll go through everything. You'll come up with every fucking thing except the fact that you bragged about fucking murdering him. That's what you'll do. You'll come up with all of it. But you won't fucking deal with the fact that you bragged about murdering him. I have the fucking emails. I have the fucking the things to the live videos. And so do the cops. Because all of the fucking screenshots that I took actually went to the cops. They're on my blog. I've shown them repeatedly, over and over and over. Over and over and over. And they were involved in the whole situation with Neil Gross when he emailed me 6 months later. Oh, yes, they are. Oh, yes, they are. See your denials and shit like that? You bragged. And I'm actually getting ready to just record all of the weird voicemails that you guys have left me and actually just do a whole video of weird ass voicemails, of your weird ass voicemails. And so obviously, Geo, you care. Here you are. Here you are. And you're posting, here you are. That's just, here you are. The child trafficking thing is going to be exposed. That's what's going to end up happening. The child trafficking shit is going to be exposed. Lucian Greaves, aka Doug Mesner, founder of the Satanic Temple, can send me shit as Johnny Dub laughing about the whole child trafficking bullshit that goes on with that Satanic Temple after school daycare bullshit. But again, look at those 50 kids and figure out if there's a Satanic Temple after school daycare opening anywhere around, because they're supposed to have popped up all over the United States. So I wonder, it's worth fucking looking into, you think? Or maybe 50 kids disappearing don't matter. The 1,000 kids that disappeared in Ohio, they didn't seem to matter. You know? And again, Fair and Balanced did that. He reported on that poll with Republicans, and close to 50% doesn't give a shit if Trump was involved. Trump could not only kill someone on Fifth Avenue. So he said he could kill someone on Fifth Avenue, shoot someone, no one would care. Let's go take that a little bit further. He could go on Fifth Avenue and rape a 10-year. Wait a minute, no, he said that his limit was 12. So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He could rape a 13-year-old girl on Fifth Avenue. The media could all film it, and it could be on the news all over the place. And people would either say that he was a hero and what he did was justified, or two, actually attack the victim and how she brought it upon herself, because that's how it works. The victim blaming, it's not about kids. But pedophilia and child trafficking is wrong no matter who the fuck it is. You know? No matter who the fuck it is. It's wrong. But this child trafficking thing needs to be exposed. And Gio, you guys are all involved with what happened to Isaac Cappy. And Isaac Cappy, oh my God. What are you fucking talking about? They killed Cappy. They're involved with killing Cappy. You're actually involved with child trafficking. And probably more. Your weird obsession with John Wayne Gacy is creepy. I'm just saying it's creepy. Considering who John Wayne Gacy was. And this whole clown fetish that you had going on. You know? Isaac Cappy was all about Mike Lucchino, you know? When it comes down to it, they're just in here trying to actually cause issues. It's about child trafficking. It's about child trafficking, and it needs to be investigated. As far as Geo Farnsworth and Daniel Dowd go, they showed up in my area, in my town, and bragged about murdering my friend, who ended up dead. You know? The whole thing about it is you're not trying to do any research, dude. You're trying to actually distract. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to distract. And go ahead. Go ahead. I have a lot on this child trafficking. I have a lot on the people who have actually attacked victims. I have a lot of it. A lot of it is in your own screenshots on my blog, and it was your own shit that I showed. That's the whole thing. That's why you're so angry about it. You know, you should have never bragged about murdering Owen. I would have never figured it out. I would have never figured it out. But the fact that you fucking bragged about it, I don't give a fuck what you have to say about it. You know you bragged about it. I know you bragged about it, and I'm not fucking letting it go. Because now that it doesn't work in your favor, and let's be real, you didn't just take out Owen because he was my friend. You took him out because he was my friend, but he was also a therapist, a really well respected therapist. The other thing about it is his family was directly connected to Ricky Chaddick. And Ricky Chaddick is the first abducted and murdered kid that I went to the police with my dad and stepmom. You know, went to Nebraska State Patrolman John Pankinen. Dude, I've written a book, you know. They murdered him not because he was a therapist, but because his family was involved with Ricky Chaddick. They were actually trying to actually put the case of abducted and murdered Ricky Chaddick on Owen's brother Neil. And Neil wasn't the one who did it. It wasn't Owen and his mother either. But again, it's all about child trafficking. The shit that I got involved with that I was working with Isaac Cappy about all dealt with child trafficking. It all dealt with child trafficking. Flat out. It did. Isaac Cappy was all involved before he was killed in trying to expose child trafficking. That's what he did. None of this group actually wants you to focus on that. Not a fucking one of them wants you to focus on what the fuck he was doing before he ended up dead. You know? And they'll just go on and on and on. And it's because they're all involved. It's because they're all involved. You know? You guys actually play these games thinking that you're actually doing something and you're not. Isaac ended up dead because he was harassing Michael Aquino on 4 of Michael Aquino's phone numbers. Then they actually flew him down to Australia right after that, you know? Michael Aquino and his associates have always been involved in child trafficking. Like I said, below Michael Aquino, in my experience, having to dealt with all of these people, I think it's Gabe Hoffman. Underneath Gabe Hoffman is Thomas Schoenberger. Under Thomas Schoenberger is Sewertown. With Sewertown comes Geo Farnsworth, Daniel Bad, Tara Joyce, Jesse Davis, DeFango, that whole group. Corey Daniel, his Sicilian witch wife. That. Then you also have Doug Mesner, who's on the other side. Satanic Mesner, or Satanic Temple. Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. And it's that shit that they're using to actually target the fucking kids. You know? That's what they're doing. And it needs to be looked at. It needs to be investigated. And the shit that they're in here doing, all of this stupid game shit that they're doing, it shouldn't really make any fucking difference. You know? Because when it comes down to it, this group is all involved with child trafficking in one way or the other. They say they're advocates, so they should be chomping at the bit to actually expose this shit, all of the shit that Epstein did. Because it's just another part of it. You know, they know. Fuck, they were all Isaac Cappy's friends. They must know. You know? But considering Michael Aquino was Colonel Michael Aquino, and then I don't even know who you are. I don't even know who the fuck you are. Jamie and Rox. You know? I don't even know who you are. Did I say anything about you? Why would I say anything about you? I don't even fucking know who you are. Well, great. The government knows who we both are. You know, Mike Aquino was CIA. The shit that he was involved with was protected under the guise of national security. Thomas Schoenberger, if you watch that thing, that Vice News thing with that Robert Steele dude, Thomas Schoenberger is obviously somehow connected to CIA. Doug Mesner, aka Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, his co founder Shane Bugbee wrote a whole extensive article saying that he left. And one of the reasons why is because Doug Mesner said he was working with the CIA. And so it's not like pulling the CIA shit, it's like pulling it out of my ass. It's not like that at all. There's obviously reasons why people need to look at it. And so, and I'm sure, Gio, you know all about it. You know, you are a henchman and you're the first fucking person that they're going to throw under the fucking bus. Because this whole thing with Owen isn't going to go away. Isn't going to go away. And everyone involved knows how fucking serious I am about it. Everyone involved. Oh my God, my family doesn't have restraining. My stepmother got a restraining order years ago. You know, trying to actually stop my book because she and my father were involved with abducting and hurting kids. That was the first person I actually fought with. And then actually, when I published my book after 2012, then I had to deal with Doug Mesner and the whole Satanic Temple and Emily Thorne, who just, fuck, it was a non-stop war that went into there. And Doug Mesner's whole MO is going to Neil Brick's Smart Conference, finding fucking survivors and then terrorizing them to shut them up. His whole focus is discrediting survivors. Flat out. That's what he does. And with the satanic after school daycare, this is also the dude who had a picture all over the national news of him pulling out his dick and balls in front of everybody and putting them on a gravestone. And that's the guy that they say is okay to be around kids. You know? Who gave Epstein the sweetheart fucking deal that he got? The government. Who's actually fucking covering this shit up now? The government. It's the fucking government. And they're doing it right now. So unless you believe that John Podesta and Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton and Obama have complete control over the Trump administration, then, you know, and they want to discredit it. Oh, you know, it looks like Ivory Garden is still running. I looked at it, posted something on my blog, just screenshots. Just look like it's up and running. But when it comes down to Ivory Garden, what needs to be looked at is Lori King. Because Lori King didn't commit suicide any more than Isaac Cappy committed suicide. You know? And it's always around these motherfuckers. Everyone's committing suicide around these motherfuckers. How many fucking suicides are you going to take and be like, oh, okay, it's just another suicide. Oh, just another suicide. Oh, everyone who deals with this group in one way fucking ends up committing suicide. Fucking stupid. And now there's 50 fucking kids missing. If you go to missing and exploited kids, there's 50 fucking kids. So is it about the kids or not? Because I don't think it is. I think it was all about Jeffrey Epstein and the Jeffrey Epstein stuff and all of that. I really do think that all of that shit was involved. I don't know. I don't know if they're involved. I don't. But I do know that if I was looking for information on what people had to say, I know that Pat Goodwin has information on what has to say because she's the one who hooked me up with that whole Zoom conference call where all those women told me that Amber Volatin was fucking bragging about shit, you know? Felicity was right there when I called that fucking cop that was involved with the shit down with Lori King, you know? She was on the phone with me when I called because once I found out about all of this, aren't you supposed to call the cops? So I did. That's on my blog. Again, Lori King. Type it in the search bar. All kinds of shit will come up. You know? Lori King ended up dead on the same exact Sunday that Ivory Garden was finishing up their second annual trauma conference in Seattle. It was the same fucking Sunday. The Sunday of that conference. Everyone fucking heard about it. It instilled so much fear in people. It did. It did. And so it's the same fucking shit. And you couldn't say anything because Amber Volatin is a transsexual. So nothing you can say, and yet bragged about it. Bragged about taking out Lori King. And then Lori King's husband ends up dead less than a year later. You know? Less than a year later. I will say with Ivory Garden that it's interesting. 3 co-founders, and she's the only one still left alive. Everyone else is dead. The first co-founder was dead. Lori King is dead. Pat Goodwin's the only one left alive. So I will say that. You know? And personally, me, I didn't know that Doug Mesner lived in Tacoma, 23 miles away. Didn't know. But I bet Felicity did. And Felicity, it's interesting because Felicity started to push me to come out to Seattle. And then all of a sudden, Michael, my ex, started to push me to go to Seattle. Oh, go look at property, see if we can get some property out there. And had no clue that at the exact same time, Felicity's trying to get me to come out to Seattle. My other half is pushing me to go. But my other half started dating someone at the exact same time Felicity started to push me. 3 months. 3 months before I went out to Seattle. That's how long they were together. That's 3 months. And then I went to Seattle. And the day after I got there, my ex became my ex. Broke up with me on the phone and then ghosted me. That was the exact same time that Felicity helped my friend and I, who drove out with me to get a bag of pie. It was obviously laced with PCP. Didn't even know it. Didn't even know it. And these are just facts of the fucking matter. This is the shit that happened. You know? But I'm not fucking Nancy Drew. I'm not going to go investigate. I just think that it needs to be investigated. But if I was looking into fucking Lori King, I'd start with Pat Goodwin. Because she knows people who heard about all about it. And obviously Ivory Garden is still going because there's the recent posts. I moved from Algona and back to Iowa. And the problem, they can say, Felicity can say, I was not sending her emails. You know, I was not sending her any kind of emails. The very last time I ever saw her, I went to this Mexican restaurant. It was right in between us. It was in, we, we lived about 8 blocks away from each other. But this Mexican restaurant was right in the middle. And I went to go get takeout, and she was in there having dinner with some woman. And my takeout wasn't ready, but I had to go to the bathroom, so I simply went to the bathroom. And I will admit, I kind of hung out in the bathroom a little bit longer than I probably should have, because I didn't want to engage. And when I came out, Felicity was gone, her friend was still there, and I had this weird impression that there had just been a lot of drama that just happened. But I just wanted away. I just wanted away. You know? Like, if you think Sherilyn broke my heart, I just, fuck. I loved Pat. I love Felicity. One of the best birthdays I've ever had in my life happened because of Felicity. And so it just, I don't know if she was involved in that. You know? No, same person. Pat Goodwin is a real person. Felicity is her survivor now. But I know she knows. And Amber Volatin drove 2.5 hours to Lori King's house, showed up out of the blue. Nobody knew she was coming. They sent her husband to the store for bread or something. And Amber Volatin got Lori King in her car, and they drove back the 2.5 hours back to Amber Volatin's house. And it was the exact same weekend that Ivory Garden, who Lori King was co-founder of, was having their second annual trauma conference in Seattle. And they had just, Amber Volatin had just convinced Lori King to take all her shit down a month before. And I mean, Lori King was an avid survivor. She was heavy into the survivor community. She took down a lot of shit. They convinced her to take it down. So then Amber Volatin shows up at her house out of the blue, drives her back 2.5 hours. And that same weekend, on that Sunday, Lori King takes a bunch of fucking pills and commits suicide at Amber Volatin's house on the same Sunday as the second annual trauma conference. And yes, it might be upsetting to Lori King because she was a co-founder of Ivory Garden, but in the 2+ years that I was involved with, the 3 years that I was involved with Felicity, I came along when Lori King and Felicity weren't friends anymore. You know? And so I just, again, it's all this child trafficking shit. And Doug Mesner, aka Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, and his Satanic Temple minions have gone out of their way to shut down and close off survivors who have gone through a lot of ritual abuse. And yes, some of it has been satanic ritual abuse, but a lot of it has been human trafficking and child trafficking and shit like that. And that is what he's tried to close down all these years. Now he's involved in schools, and this group is just, they're all involved. They're all involved. By their own admission, they're all involved. You know, they're compelled. They can't stop. They need to be fucking investigated. All of this needs to be looked at because this child trafficking and this pedophilia is bad, No matter who the fuck is doing it, it's bad. It's just, you know, Doug was in my life because Doug was in my life with Felicity. That's how Felicity got into my life. Is that I was fighting with Doug, but I was also talking at smart conferences. So Doug was already focused on me talking because I talked at the smart Neil Brick Smart Conference 3 years in a row. You know, my sister knew of Doug Mesner through me. And then what I believe is that she and I got into a huge fight. And so she called Doug Mesner and told Doug Mesner that her oldest son had medical records for what happened when I was 13 years old, which none of that existed. You know, none of that existed. He didn't go to the hospital. I didn't go to jail. I was 13. Yes, I shit happened, but not like what they said. And he didn't go to the hospital. I didn't go to jail. And so, but she told Doug Mesner that her son had these medical records, which was basically offering the holy grail to Mesner. And so it painted a target right on her son's back. And I'm sure they were relentless with my nephew, who wants all of this to go away, who wants all of it to go away. That's why they're focused on now my idiot nephew that nothing happened with. When he was 3, I was 11. You know, it was just, but that's the reason why. And that is what caused, I believe, problems between her son and my sister, because she put a target on his back, offering the holy grail that he didn't have because he didn't go to the hospital. There's no medical records to be had, you know? And they can say whatever the fuck they want, but I was 13 and having a psychotic break after they made me light that dude on fire. My dad and stepmother and sister Cindy and brother-in-law Ralph and brother Stephen. They were all there that night that Joanne made me light that dude on fire. You know? And that was when I was 10. So all of this child trafficking bullshit, but it's all getting ready to be dealt with. The dark is here to fucking deal with it. They can pull whatever bullshit they want. They can say whatever the fuck they want. They can do whatever they want. It won't make any difference. The bullshit, the dark is here to claim their stupid asses. And so that's my life for today. Babe, nobody's living in my head for free. I do these things so that I can get it done. This is kind of like cathartic for me. I get it done and then I can go do other shit for the rest of the day. And I don't think about all this stuff all day. I have other shit that I have to get done. But yeah, this is exasperating shit. Trying to deal with this child trafficking bullshit. And the threats and them breaking into my house and doing all kinds of weird shit so I know they're breaking into my house. And the cops fucking hanging flyers so trying to get someone to shoot me at my house. You know, they can say whatever the fuck they want, but anybody else, this would probably drive you all into the fucking loony bin. But I'm very good at compartmentalizing and just dealing with shit as it comes. A lot of years of fucking therapy. Not like it doesn't have its bad effects on me, that's for sure. But fuck, what can you do? You know, what can you do? But the dark is here to claim the fucking child killers and anybody who protects and helps them out. And anybody who protects and helps out the people who are helping protect and help the fucking child killers. If you do not stand for what is right, you're going to get claimed by the dark. That's the rules of this game. It's the rules that we were always told about. These are the same rules we were always told about. You know, no matter what the cost, to stand for what is right. And obviously, there's a fucking problem. There were 1,000 kids in Ohio. Now there's 50 kids missing, and they're all just disappearing all at once. You know, they're not all fucking runaways. And we have people who are involved with human trafficking, let alone child trafficking, who have men on the streets with fucking masks on, with no identification, just snatching fucking people off the streets. What could possibly go wrong with that? But if it's okay for someone else, and that's the shit part about it, if you're okay with it happening to someone else, you can look away. It doesn't make any difference to you. Oh, well. If it's okay for someone else, then you've made the judgment that it's also okay for you. And you're going to end up in the fucking dark. And you aren't going to like what awaits you. That's how this shit is going to work. And I could, I'm not going to give you, but just so we're clear, Michael Aquino, because I know you fucking watch these things. It's not like I'm being altruistic in all of this, because I started thinking about it and thinking, yes, I did all of this and used myself as a sacrifice, offered my life and my soul to all of this, to be able to take all of these idiots into the dark and the mirror magic and all the shit that you trained me how to do. But on the other side, I get to be all of you. I get to live out my life's desires and every dream every dream. And so, yes, I end up having to be involved and caretaker of the dark, but I'm not a fallen angel. I'm certainly not separate from father or mother. I'm not separate from heaven at all. I completely serve heaven and I serve the word. And my heart's desire means, yes, I have to tend to the dark, but my heart's desire means I also get to go to the new earth and help propagate the joy, because people who find themselves in the new garden will breathe in joy. And I get to help do that because the word gets to actually do what it was supposed to do in the first place. And so that's what I get out of this. That's the reason why I'm willing to go through all of it, because I know what's on the other side. And all the shit that they do to me is going to be meted right back to them with the whole wrath of heaven involved. They ain't going to like what is going to await them. And they can't beat it. They can't fucking beat it, which is why Michael Aquino is hiding in the goddamn shadows, pretending to be fucking dead. It's the reason why my stepmother did the same fucking thing, hid in the shadows and pretended to be dead. There's a reason why. All of this child trafficking bullshit needs to be investigated and it needs to be stopped. And if you're okay with the motherfuckers who are helping fucking the child killers, then you deserve the dark as much as anybody else. That's how it works. You'll take a stand for what is right, or you will be claimed by the dark. That's how it works. We were always told that's how it works. Nothing has fucking changed. And you can preach from whatever fucking roof or high mountaintop you can find, but faith without works is dead. And it's the surest way to find yourself into the fucking dark. You can only serve one master, and there's only two to choose from, and both are calling their houses home. You serve the light, you go home to the light. You serve the fucking dark. And that means looking away, doing whatever you want, any way facilitating the fucking dark, you get claimed by the dark. You simply have to just facilitate it. do nothing, you ain't going to like the consequences. Those who try to save their lives will lose their lives. Those who stand for righteousness will find everlasting life. Same shit we were always told. It's true then, true now. The test is